Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have two stories for you, one from ProRevenge and one from Petty Revenge. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Catherine the Tiger. I broke up with my boyfriend on his birthday for horrible actions he did when he was a teenager. I don't know whether this counts as pro-revenge, but here is my story, which happened some years ago. I, 26 female at the time, had just started dating Thomas, 28 male, and things seemed promising. Very sweet man, educated and quite smart, good looks. After 7 weeks of dating, he invited me and two of his childhood friends, let's call them Alex and Bart, for a long 29th birthday celebration weekend at his father's country house in a small French town. His father was going to be around as well, and I was very excited to meet everyone. Day 1, Friday, is fun. I am happy to get along well with Thomas's father, a smart and caring man. Day 2, Saturday. After a very nice day, we enjoy a party in the garden with the neighbors, including some friends of Thomas. After a few hours and lots of drinks, a group of people gather around a small campfire and start sharing childhood memories. This is where things go wrong. At first, of course, innocent and dumb stories as you would expect, but then Thomas and his friends started sharing really sick stuff. In particular, they told a story about how when they were 14 or 15 years old, they found very amusing to bully for almost 6 months Arthur, a boy of their school who was very isolated and shy, making jokes, calling names, you name it. As if this was not enough, they created a fake girl profile on MSN Messenger, a computer platform to exchange live messages that we used in the years 2000s, and spent effing months exchanging messages with him under the false girl identity, flirting and developing a false relationship with the poor boy. Some people were in the confidence at school, and it became a big and cruel joke behind Arthur's back. They used pictures of Bart's real cousin, and the boy truly thought he had some kind of online girlfriend, to whom he even sent confessions and love messages. At some point, they got bored and scheduled a false rendezvous in real life, asking the boy to take a bus for 2 or 3 hours, wearing a t-shirt Elmer the Elephant based on a private joke. Obviously, there was no one waiting for him, and they did not know how long he waited over there by himself. If Arthur had not already understood what was going on, he found out the next day at school after Thomas and Bart told the story to everyone, and even shared the love messages that Arthur had been writing. The poor boy stopped coming to class and apparently changed schools, and it is easy to imagine that this must have been extremely traumatizing to him. Do you think that Thomas, Alex, and Bart had any bit of shame about it? Not a bit of remorse. In particular, on Thomas and Bart's side, they kept making jokes about it, and even seemed to regret that they were not good enough at being evil to convince the boy to send nudes or sexy pics. I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if he had done so. To say that I felt uncomfortable would be a gross understatement. I was absolutely horrified and started to despise Thomas more than anything. I was not the only one shocked. Thomas's father, who heard the end of the story, had the most disappointed look in his eyes. His stupid son was so drunk that he did not even notice it. I escaped the party immediately after that and got back to the house. I could not sleep at all this night, and I kept thinking about the evening and how Thomas was still finding this funny. I heard him coming to bed around 4 a.m., but I pretended I was asleep. Day 3, Sunday, was the actual birthday, and the initial plan was that I would take Thomas on a 1-to-1 fancy surprise date for lunch nearby, and then we would meet the group for a late afternoon party. But instead, I woke up very early on Sunday morning, took all my stuff in silence, and went alone to the train station, where I took a direct train heading back to Paris. I decided to send a text to Thomas wishing him happy birthday and telling him to meet me at a certain location 1 hour from the house for a surprise, and that I needed to go a little bit in advance to make sure that everything would be perfect. I had picked the location randomly using Google Maps to gain time. Thomas read the text around 10 a.m. when he woke up. He responded with excitement that he would follow religiously the instructions. When he arrived there at 12:30, I told him to wait further as there was a little delay on something. Then I asked him to meet me at a restaurant, which was a 30-minute drive from the initial location. When he arrived at 1:15, I texted him that I was on my way, would arrive in 20 minutes, and that he will understand when he sees me why I made him wait. I also asked him to order some food and the most expensive bottle on the menu. Around 1:30, he started calling me several times and sent a lot of worried texts. And after 45 minutes, I responded in French, "So how does it feel to have people play with your feelings?" Then I stopped responding. I let him call and text the entire afternoon, but never responded. At some point, an unknown number called me. It was his friend Alex, asking what was going on, and that Thomas's birthday was completely ruined because of what I did. I just responded, "This is an extremely small payback for what you did to Arthur. Tell Thomas to stop calling me," and hung up. I blocked them. I still felt bad the entire evening as I had started to grow attached to Thomas back then. The following days, a common friend called me to say that my reaction was completely absurd and unfair, that it was not my role to punish someone for actions they did as a teenager, that there were adult ways of saying things, and that I had been completely crazy. Only a few people supported what I did. Everyone else seemed to think that I was a bitch. Thomas tried to fix things and win me back for a few months afterwards. I never responded to any of his messages. I don't regret it. I simply hope that Arthur, who should be 35 or 36 years old now, is well. OP added some edits on the bottom. The first one says, "I really did not expect so many reactions and comments. As expected, I see that not everyone approves what I did, but I am surprised to receive so many kind messages. Thank you." About Thomas's father, he was actually one of the few people understanding my actions. He called me shortly after the incident to discuss an unrelated topic. I was to give him a list of recommendations about something and was already aware of everything. He did not badmouth his son, but I could really feel that he was disappointed. He simply told me that he had not found sleep the night of Saturday to Sunday because of what he had heard during the party. He told me he appreciated meeting me and expressed regret that I was not with his son anymore, but also said that he understood my reasons. He did not try to convince me to get back with Thomas. This man was truly a gentleman. I don't know what became of Arthur. I don't even know his last name. I think that even if I had known his name, I would not have reached out to him by fear of making him remember things that he probably wants to forget. I hope he is a confident man and that he still likes Elmer the elephant. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Mr. Beer 9999. It says, "Criticizing OP because of her reaction to what he did as a teen is pretty dumb because that's not her issue. It's the fact that he currently thinks it was a hilarious prank while being an adult." It sounds to me like he's somebody who has never really learned the consequences for their actions. I'm guessing they had parents that didn't really pay attention to them and just let them do whatever they wanted to do. I know the father was cringing at this point, but he's probably looking back on himself a little bit too and saying, "How did I miss that?" OP, I wish you the best going forward, and I know you'll find somebody who has the same moral compass that you do. This story comes to us from Veggie Vengeance. "I put vegetables in all my food to stop my roommate's kid from eating it. Mom threatens legal action." I posted this before in a different sub, but I figured it would be appreciated here, and I have more things to add. Original post. I posted this in another forum, but received a lot of comments telling me to post it here as well. I, 26 female, live in a rented house with a single mother, 30 female, and her son, 6 male. I had another person living with me, but they moved out and the mother moved in. I don't mind living with her and her kid. It's fine and we kinda do our own thing. I spend a lot of time at my boyfriend's place or working. Our work schedules collide, so we really don't interact much, but when we do, it's fine, no issue there. I want to start with saying that she clearly struggles financially, but I don't think it's an excuse. I don't make lots of money either. However, I've noticed that my food would go missing or portions would be taken from it. I assumed it was her kid, so I asked her if she'd stop him from eating my food. I was calm about it, and she just said she would. It didn't really upset me when it first started. It started getting annoying when I'd get home from work and expect to have a meal's worth of leftovers in the fridge, only to see it picked through or just gone. I kept bringing it up, and she started getting annoyed with me bringing it up. Just from observing them, I realized that neither of them ever eat vegetables, and judging by the food that would get picked through and the food that would be untouched, anything with green in it was avoided. Orange chicken would be gone, but chicken and broccoli would be untouched. So I started putting vegetables in everything. I find vegetables to be delicious, and anything green or not a potato does not get eaten. So I could mix some bell peppers into the food and it would be fine. I make a big portion of vegetables pretty frequently anyway, so I just started putting it in everything I eat. If I had leftover mashed potatoes, I'd pour green beans in and mix it up. If I had leftover cheesy bacon fries, I'd pour broccoli all over it and mix it in. Usually, my homemade stuff has vegetables in it, but I started making sure everything did. I made a pot of mac and cheese, the kids' favorite thing, and poured in roasted Brussels sprouts, which is actually delicious to me, and I'm eating more vegetables, so it's a win-win. She had been seeming annoyed, but we were all home when I made the pot of mac and cheese. She was in the living room and saw me get out the Brussels sprouts and was like, "What are you going to do with that?" And I poured them in. She said I was being greedy and annoying. I just said I like Brussels sprouts, and that was it. She said, "We need food," and I told her to go get some. Or stop buying only prepackaged things and your money will go further. I think she sees this as some big act of revenge, but I just simply want to be able to eat my food. Also want to add that the sharing is not the issue. It's expecting to have food there and it's not. So often I'd be working a long day and get home expecting to have a meal's worth of food and it all be gone. Or I wake up in a rush and had my food ready to eat in the morning only to find it gone. So now I have to skip breakfast. If she would simply text sometimes, "Hey, is it okay if we eat food item?" I would know and would know to make other plans. I would stop for food or know I have to whip something up when I get home. Also, I think eating the last of someone else's food is crazy and rude. If someone makes a big pot of something and you ask for a serving, sure. But if someone made something and there is one serving left and you eat it without permission, that is evil as hell. Alright, OP added an update down here. It says, "Update. So I have been steadfast with putting vegetables in everything. I've put vegetables in things I've never even thought of. This has carried on and the mom calls me a jerk, but will not verbalize that she is eating my food. She just sees me making a lasagna and adding celery and bell peppers in the layers and fumes off to the side. The only thing I can't add vegetables to is snacks like chips, or if I bake brownies or cookies. However, this is easily remedied by putting baked goods in a Tupperware and keeping them in my room. Same with chips. As I have previously stated, the sharing is not the issue. Recently, the kid knocked on my door and asked if he would have a bag of microwave popcorn. I said yes and gave him one. All of this would be way less annoying if she'd just text, "Hey, can I have some of this?" and waited for my response before just helping herself. I do feel for the mom because she clearly struggles with cooking and trying new foods. She is older than me and winces at the thought of biting into anything green. And it is spreading to her kid, but it's no excuse. A few days ago, I was making taco meat out of ground beef, and like usual, she was looking without looking. She was off to the side watching my every move, but trying to look normal. I made a dish the day before that involved sauteed mushrooms and cut up peppers. So when the meat was almost ready, I opened the fridge and she freaked when she saw me holding the mushrooms. She said, "Son's name hates mushrooms." And I just poured them in the pan and mixed along with the cut up peppers. This caused her to react in a way I'd never seen from her before. She was yelling and stomping around the kitchen while the kid just watched. Felt bad for the kid to have to see his mom like that. People were worried about her tampering with my food. I don't think she's the kind to do that, but if she did, I would report that right away. She was flipping out, but she didn't snatch my food or knock anything over. She was opening and slamming cabinets, and it was all very silly. Then she started going off about how she is going to get the authorities involved. I just told her, sure, and that she needs to relax. She seemed genuinely upset and stressed, and I told her that I understand being a single mom is hard, but she needs to use her government assistance more responsibly. She'll come home with cold mac and cheese, sushi, and chicken from the grocery store, prepared foods, and blow all of it on that. I suggested food pantries and buying ingredients that last a while, like potatoes. She said I was being condescending, and I always have food to eat. This is to address the just make a portion of your food and set it aside for her and the kid. I do not make enough money to regularly feed 2 other people. If every now and then she asked for some of my leftovers, sure. But this is a consistent thing that was happening. It's not simple as giving her leftovers that I won't eat anyway. If I make a pot of something, I expect to live off of that for the next few days. If it is eaten, then my money is messed up, and I have to go shopping again and budget for more food, waste my time and money. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Endless Beach Day. It says, I would have stopped dead in my tracks and asked her why she was telling me that her son hates mushrooms. Call her out directly. Stop skirting the issue. Her food insecurity is not your problem. Her stealing your food is your problem. Okay, so part of me is looking at this comment and going, well, it's not really food insecurity, she's just stealing the food. I mean, if you're truly hungry, like you haven't eaten in a couple days, you will eat anything, regardless of whether there's vegetables in it or not. So I don't think those two are starving at all. I think they're just trying to take the easy way out, and OP's food is there for the taking. Yes, I agree. OP, you need to call her out directly and stop skirting the issue, because that's your food, not hers.